This soul did not enter your life by accident, and deep down you already feel it. There is something about them that feels different. Something that pulls at you in a way you cannot explain, and no matter how much you try to ignore it, it keeps returning, like a quiet voice inside you whispering that this connection means something more. Something deeper, something that goes beyond logic. And this is where most people make a mistake. They try to analyze it. They try to control it. They try to label it too quickly. But some connections are not meant to be understood immediately. They are meant to be felt. And that feeling is not random. It is not coincidence. It is alignment. And as Carl Jung once suggested, what you encounter externally is often a reflection of something within you. Something that is ready to awaken. And when this soul appeared in your life, it did not just bring emotions. It brought a mirror, a reflection of parts of you that you may have ignored, denied, or never fully understood. And that is why their presence feels so intense, because they are not just another person. They are an experience, a trigger, a catalyst, and the moment you met them, something inside you shifted. Maybe you became more aware of your emotions. Maybe you started questioning your patterns. Maybe you felt seen in a way you never had before. And at the same time, maybe you also felt challenged, uncomfortable, even confused, because this kind of connection does not only bring light, it also brings shadow. It forces you to confront the parts of yourself that you have been avoiding, and this is why it feels so powerful, because it is not just about them. It is about what they awaken in you. And here is the truth most people are not ready to accept. When a soul enters your life for a reason, it is rarely to make you comfortable. It is to make you grow, and growth is not always easy. It requires letting go of old beliefs, old habits, old versions of yourself. And this is where the resistance begins, because part of you wants to hold on to what is familiar, even if it no longer serves you, while another part of you feels pulled toward something new, something unknown, something that this person seems to represent. And this internal conflict creates tension, because you are standing between who you were and who you are becoming. And this soul, whether you realize it or not, is part of that transformation. And the more you try to ignore it, the stronger it seems to become, because what is meant for your growth will not simply disappear. It will keep showing up in different forms until you pay attention, until you face it, until you learn from it. And this is why ignoring this connection can feel so heavy, because it is not just about walking away from a person. It is about avoiding a lesson. And when lessons are avoided, they do not disappear, they repeat, sometimes with different faces, sometimes in different situations, but always with the same underlying message. And that message is asking you to evolve, to step into a deeper awareness of yourself. And this is where the real question begins, not what this soul means to you, but what they are here to teach you, because every meaningful connection carries a purpose. And that purpose is not always what you expect. Sometimes it is to show you your worth. Sometimes it is to reveal your wounds. Sometimes it is to push you toward a path you are too afraid to take. And sometimes it is simply to wake you up, to make you realize that you are capable of feeling more, being more, becoming more than you ever thought possible. And when you start to see it this way, everything begins to change. The confusion starts to make sense. The intensity starts to feel less overwhelming. And you begin to understand that this is not something happening to you. It is something happening for you. And that shift in perspective is where your power begins. Because now you are no longer lost in the connection. You are learning from it, growing through it, evolving because of it. And that is exactly why this soul found you. Not by chance, not by luck, but by alignment. At a time when you were ready, even if you did not realize it yet. And this is where things become even more intense. Because once you begin to realize that this connection is not random, that it carries meaning, something inside you starts to shift. Your awareness deepens, your emotions become clearer, and at the same time, your fears begin to rise. Because growth always comes with uncertainty. And this is the stage where most people feel the urge to pull back, to protect themselves, to return to what feels safe and familiar. But the truth is, what feels familiar is not always what is right for you. Sometimes it is just what you have been conditioned to accept, and this soul, the one that found you, begins to challenge that conditioning in ways you cannot ignore. They may not even try to change you directly, but their presence alone starts to expose patterns within you. Patterns of overthinking, patterns of self-doubt, patterns of settling for less than you deserve. And suddenly, you find yourself questioning things you never questioned before. Asking deeper questions about love, about connection, about your own identity. And this is where Carl Jung's idea of the shadow becomes unavoidable. Because this connection is not just showing you what you want to see. It is also revealing what you have hidden from yourself. The insecurities you buried, the fears, you avoided the parts of you that you never fully accepted. And facing these things is not comfortable. It can feel overwhelming. Even painful at times, but it is necessary. Because without awareness, there can be no transformation. And this is why this connection feels so different. Because it is not based on surface-level attraction or temporary emotion. It operates on a deeper level, one that pushes you toward growth, whether you are ready or not. And here is where the real test begins. Because now you have a choice. You can continue to ignore it, suppress it, pretend it does not matter. Or you can face it, learn from it, and allow it to transform you. And this choice is not always easy. Because facing something real requires vulnerability. It requires honesty with yourself. It requires letting go of illusions that once made you feel secure, and many people are not ready for that. So they run, not because the connection is wrong, but because it is too real, too intense, too revealing. And yet, no matter how far they try to distance themselves, something always brings them back. A thought, a memory, a feeling that refuses to fade. And this is not weakness. This is alignment trying to guide you. Trying to show you that there is something here worth understanding. Worth exploring, worth growing through. And this is where the difference between illusion and purpose becomes clear. Because illusion fades over time. It loses its intensity. It becomes distant. But a purposeful connection does not fade so easily. It lingers. It evolves. It stays present in your mind in ways that are difficult to explain. And that persistence is not random. It is there to get your attention. To make you aware of something deeper, something that goes beyond the surface. And as this awareness grows, you begin to see things more clearly. You start to understand your own reactions, your own emotions, your own patterns, and in that understanding, you begin to gain control over yourself. Not over the connection, but over how you respond to it. And this is where your power starts to return. Because now you are no longer acting out of confusion or fear. You are acting out of awareness, and awareness changes everything. It allows you to see truth where you once saw uncertainty. It allows you to recognize value where you once felt doubt. And most importantly, it allows you to make decisions that align with your growth rather than your fears. And this is exactly why ignoring this connection can hold you back. Not because the person themselves is the only path forward, but because what they represent is something you need to understand, something you need to integrate into your life. And until you do that, the feeling will remain. The lesson will remain. The pull will remain. And this is the deeper meaning behind why this soul found you. It is not just about them. It is about who you are becoming through this experience. It is about stepping into a version of yourself that is more aware, more aligned, more connected to your true nature. And once you reach that level of understanding, everything begins to shift again. The intensity becomes clarity. The confusion becomes purpose. And you start to see that this was never just a random encounter. It was a moment designed to awaken you, to move you forward, to bring you closer to the person you were always meant to be. And this is where everything finally becomes clear, not in a sudden dramatic moment, but in a quiet realization that settles deep within you. A realization that this connection was never meant to confuse you. It was meant to reveal you to yourself. And once you begin to see that, the intensity you once felt starts to transform into something much more stable, something much more grounded. Because you are no longer chasing the meaning, you are understanding it. And that understanding changes the way you see everything, including this person. Because now you are no longer looking at them as the source of your emotions. You are recognizing them as the trigger that awakens something already within you, something that was waiting to be discovered. And this is where the illusion begins to dissolve completely, because you realize that what felt like destiny was not about dependency. It was about alignment. It was about timing. It was about two paths crossing at the exact moment they needed to. Not to stay the same, but to evolve. And this is the truth that most people struggle to accept. Not every powerful connection is meant to last forever. Some are meant to change you, to shape you, to prepare you for something greater, and that does not make them any less meaningful. In fact, it makes them even more important, because their purpose was never to complete you. It was to awaken you, and once that awakening happens, everything begins to shift in a way that feels almost effortless. You start to let go of the need to hold on so tightly. You release the pressure of trying to define what this connection is supposed to be. And instead, you focus on what it has already given you. The awareness, the growth, the clarity. And in doing so, you step into a completely different energy. One that is no longer based on fear or attachment, but on trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in your journey. Trust in the timing of your life. And this is where your power fully returns. Because now you are no longer reacting to the connection. You are responding to it with intention, with understanding, with emotional balance. And that changes everything. Because when you operate from this place, you are no longer controlled by external circumstances. You are guided by internal clarity, and that clarity becomes your foundation. It becomes the thing that allows you to move forward without confusion, without hesitation, without the constant need for validation. And this is where the true meaning of this experience reveals itself. Because it was never about finding someone to complete you. It was about becoming complete within yourself. And this soul, the one who entered your life so unexpectedly, played a role in that process. Whether they stay or leave, their impact remains. Not as a source of pain or longing, but as a turning point. A moment in your life where everything began to shift. Where you started to see yourself differently. Where you began to understand your own worth on a deeper level. And once you reach that level of awareness, something incredible happens. You stop chasing. You stop forcing. You stop trying to control outcomes, and instead you allow things to unfold naturally. Because you trust that what is truly meant for you will not require you to lose yourself to keep it. And this is where the final transformation takes place. Because now, you are no longer the same person who once questioned everything. You are someone who understands, someone who sees clearly, someone who knows that every connection, no matter how intense or confusing, carries a purpose. And once that purpose is fulfilled, there is no need to hold on out of fear. Because you know that your journey is not dependent on any single person. It is guided by your own growth, your own awareness, your own evolution. And this is why ignoring this connection was never the answer. Not because you had to hold on to it forever, but because you needed to understand it, to learn from it, to grow through it. And now that you have, you are free. Free from confusion, free from doubt, free from the need to chase something outside of yourself. Because everything you were searching for was already within you, waiting to be awakened. And this soul, whether they remain in your life or become a memory, was the spark that ignited that awakening. And that is why they found you? Not to stay the same, not to keep you stuck, but to help you become who you were always meant to be. And once you truly understand that, you no longer fear losing them, because you have already found yourself, and that is something no one can ever take away from you.